Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Isaac's vlog. And we've had a rough week. He got sick. He pretty well missed almost a week of training. He had started his cut, and so again we've gone over to where we're going to do singles. We're going to do orc mode training now, and this is where we start to see old habits come back out. We put a lot of work into building him up, building a lot of muscle tissue, right? He's gotten jacked. And this is a minor problem that we run into, is that as soon as we get over to trying to do heavy singles, old habits start coming out. And it created a problem. He failed a deadlift. So this is stuff that we want to work out. But I want you guys to notice, look how his squats look on the volume work, right? Squat day, he's able to hit depth with the volume, but he missed depth, and it was an easy lift. He's like, oh, the 385 was easy, and it was. But look at his depth difference, and notice his foot position. He went narrow stance and toes forward. Most people struggle with depth with toes forward. Not everyone can get to parallel doing that. I can't. I physically cannot do it. It is impossible for me to break parallel with toes forward. And when we learned to open his hips up like this, he gets deep. But as soon as he got a heavy single on his back, this is what happens. We revert to old habits. So it's like we built a lot of muscle, we built a lot of strength, and now we have to learn to actually use it for heavy singles. Again, he's using the term powerlifter aesthetics. He's going to get lean again and get back to his look, but we've got to get the powerlifter part in now. So there's quite a bit of work there to be done. As he's cutting, again, I told him we need to get your peak strength up. Let's work on keeping the muscle you have. Then when you finish cutting, we'll build again, but we won't get nearly as fat. But here's the thing that we're going to see with some of this. He's not on fire like he's been in the other vlogs, and a lot of it is psychological. I've been trying to work with him on getting his head straight, of going from that mentality of bulking to cutting, which you guys saw me really have to deal with. I mean, I did a really long cut, and there were a lot of up and downs, and I'm still trimming down leaner. There were a lot of up and downs with my strength and stuff, because I went all the way from being up in the 240s to compete at the 198. Right? It took me a year to really trim down, and I'm still trimming down. I still want to lose more body fat. Now, the benching, he did good, and we got everything paused, and this is something we're going to work on. So his squat day, what you guys have noticed, we do back squats, we do front squats, we do some ab work. Bench day, we do a heavy single on the bench, then we're doing back off work on the bench. Incline work. Incline work. We do tricep extensions, but we didn't get those. I need that on film, and I'll let him know. We need more of the filming for that next time. So incline, the same thing. Notice we're pausing. No touch and go. Because again, we need to build that power off the chest. We need to build that power off the chest. And of course, we do pull-ups and curls in here too. So his upper body day here, his pressing day is pretty high exercise selection and volume compared to what he normally does. But again, it's his only pressing day. And he doesn't do a bunch of pull-ups and stuff on off days like I do. So we really have to work them in, somewhere. Now, pull-ups are going good. He's still good and strong on pull-ups. He's still good and strong on his curls coming up. And the bench was good. It was a nice 300 pause bench, just for this week. Again, the curls are good. So at least the pressing and everything has gone well. But we've got to get his head in the game. Got to get his head in the game. And I'm going to have to teach him to, look, you get under that heavy squat. We've got to go back to the technique you used on the rep work to get that depth. But our brain will do that to us. It'll take the easy way out. When we go to do heavy singles, our brain will try to keep us from getting hurt. It'll go back to some old compensations and anything we've used in the past. And we saw it appear on the squat. And it's because he's not used to heavy singles yet. Same thing, we get over to the deadlift. The first one here, first single was good. He goes to 475, you can't break it. But I want you guys to notice some things. I want you to notice some things. All right, notice he tried to stiff leg it up. Notice his toes were forward, which puts us at a mechanical disadvantage as we approach the knee. Right? Makes it harder to clear the knee. but he didn't dig in and wedge and use leg drive to break it off the floor. He tried to stiff leg it up. The setup was wrong. Setup was wrong. Didn't wedge in tight enough. And again, it's because he's not used to pulling heavy singles. He's strong enough to pull that. We know from his other rep work. But the technique wasn't there. He wasn't braced tight enough. He wasn't wedged in. And it's because, again, he tried to revert to some old compensations. You know, he needed more quad work to get his squats and stuff up, right? And he immediately went back to doing what a lot of people just do when they rep deadlifts or do other stuff on the deadlifts. So they just try to remove that wedging. They try not to use that leg drive. And I've had a lot of clients who do that. And so the trick is we've got to learn to wedge in and drive those hips forward to get that leg drive right out of the bottom. Right? We can't, because he can't stiff leg deadlift 475. We know that. And we also have to get those toes adjusted, because where his bar slowed the most, had his heels been in and toes out, it would have been a different story passing through that point. Also, had we gotten leg drive off the floor, he would have more speed, and then he would have hit that point and pulled past it without the bar trying to transition. You know, so what do we do after that? We do volume deadlifts, we do pull-ups, we do glute ham raises for him here. Now, fortunately, the glute ham raises have gotten decent. We've got decently strong hamstrings now. Got to keep bringing those up. But if you also look, you know, where we missed, he tried to use the hamstrings to compensate, right? Because he didn't use the quads, he tried to compensate with the hamstrings, and they weren't quite strong enough to pull it through that position. Okay, so this is stuff that we have to be aware of when we go to, you know, to heavy singles, right? It's different than our rep work. Our rep work should ingrain good habits. It will build the hypertrophy. But a lot of times, again, what we find with people who aren't used to pulling or squatting or any of these lifts heavy, they'll go back to touch and going to the bench. They'll go back to a position that makes their hips tighter at the bottom instinctively, because the weight feels heavy on their back. And so their brain wants them to go into a position where it knows it can limit your range of motion at the bottom to protect them. But we have to set everything up right? We have to learn to do that. And I'm going to teach him, right? We're going to teach him. And he's going to get really lean now. He's going to have his look back, and we're going to keep getting stronger